Do you really know history? Maybe not. You've been told 10 major historical lies, and the truth is completely different from what you think. Have you ever thought that maybe the real history hasn't been told to you? In this video, we're exposing 10 historical lies you've been told. Lie number 1. Napoleon was very short. You might think Napoleon was short, but the truth is he had an average height of 1.69 meters for his time. This myth arose due to a difference in measurement units at the time. In reality, Napoleon had a normal height, but he was labeled as short. Lie number 2. Columbus was the first to discover America. The truth is that Columbus may have introduced the Americas to the Western world, but the Vikings reached America about 500 years before him. Vikings arrived on the shores of North America well before Columbus. Lie number 3. Galileo said the Earth is the center of the universe. Galileo actually supported Copernicus's theory, which placed the sun at the center of the universe, not the Earth. He proved that the Earth is not the center with his observations of stars and planets. Lie to the year for 4. Ancient Egypt only built pyramids. Ancient Egypt was far more advanced than just pyramids. They made significant contributions to mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and even visual arts. Lie number 5. The French surrendered to the Nazis without resistance. The truth is, France put up a huge resistance to the Nazis. They fought fiercely in the battles leading up to their surrender in 1940, and French resistance fighters gave their lives for their country's freedom. Lie number 6. Chocolate causes acne. People always say chocolate causes acne, but studies show chocolate alone doesn't cause acne. Genetics, hormones, and skin conditions play a far bigger role in acne formation. Lie number 7. People in the past believed the Earth was flat. A common misconception is that people in ancient times thought the Earth was flat. In reality, ancient scientists knew the Earth was round. The idea of a flat Earth only became popular during the Middle Ages due to misinformation. Lie number 8. Nikola Tesla invented electricity. While Nikola Tesla was a genius and made incredible contributions to electrical engineering, Thomas Edison is generally credited with the first practical use of electricity. Tesla is known for his work on alternating current, AC. Lie number 9. The climate has always been like it is today. The belief that the climate has remained the same throughout history is false. Earth has undergone significant climate changes over millions of years, and these changes occurred naturally. Lie number 10. World wars were fought only in Europe. Both World War I and World War II were fought across the globe, not just in Europe. They included battles in Africa, the Pacific Ocean, and Asia as well. Europe was just one part of these global conflicts. So, as you can see, many of these beliefs are completely wrong. These are just some of the historical lies that have been passed down to us. The truth is always more complex than what we've been told. Have you heard these lies before? What do you think? Leave a comment below, and if you found this interesting, make sure to like this video. Lie 11. The Great Wall of China is one continuous wall. Many people think the Great Wall is one single continuous wall. In reality, it's a patchwork of walls built over different dynasties, spanning more than 13,000 miles across China. It wasn't built in one go by a single emperor. Lie 12. Napoleon died in exile from poison. The myth is that Napoleon was poisoned and killed in exile. The truth? He died of stomach cancer, a condition that ran in his family. His death wasn't the result of foul play, as many have thought. Lie 13. Vikings wore horned helmets. You've seen it in movies, but Vikings never wore horned helmets. This is a myth created by 19th century artists. The real Viking helmets were simple and practical for battle. Lie 14. Einstein was a terrible student. Contrary to the myth that Einstein was bad at school, he was actually an excellent student. In fact, he was one of the brightest students in his class and excelled in mathematics and physics from a young age. Lie 15. George Washington had wooden teeth. This is one of the most famous myths about the first US president. While Washington did have dental problems, his dentures were made from ivory, gold, and even human teeth, not wood. Lie 16. The Salem Witch. Trials burned witches at the stake. This popular myth says that witches were burned alive in Salem. In reality, most people accused of witchcraft were hanged. Only one person was pressed to death with stones, and none were burned at the stake. Lie 17. The first flight was done by the Wright brothers in 1903. While the Wright brothers are credited with inventing the airplane, the first successful flight was actually by Richard Pearse in 1902, who flew in New Zealand almost a year before the Wright brothers. Lie 18. Cleopatra was Egyptian. Cleopatra is often thought of as an Egyptian queen, but she was actually of Greek descent. Her family, the Ptolemies, ruled Egypt after Alexander the Great's death, and Cleopatra was the last in their line. Lie 19. The Eiffel Tower was supposed to be temporary. When the Eiffel Tower was built in 1889, many people thought it would only be up for a few years. In fact, it was supposed to be demolished after 20 years, but it was saved because of its usefulness as a radio tower. Lie 20. The Mona Lisa was stolen by an Italian. In 1911, it was believed that the Mona Lisa was stolen by an Italian named Vincenzo Peruggia. The truth is, he was simply trying to return the painting to Italy, thinking it belonged there, and it was not a theft for profit. As you can see, history is full of myths, lies, and misunderstandings. The truth is often stranger than fiction. These 10 lies are just the tip of the iceberg. Lie 21. Joan of Arc was burned at the stake as a witch. While it's true that Joan of Arc was burned at the stake, the reason was not witchcraft. She was executed for heresy and cross-dressing, which was seen as a challenge to authority at the time. Her trial was politically motivated. Lie 22. A penny dropped from the Empire State Building can kill you. This myth has been debunked countless times. A penny is too small and light to gain enough speed to cause serious harm if dropped from the Empire State Building. It would only fall at terminal velocity and would be unlikely to hurt anyone. Lie 23. Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to a deserted island. Napoleon's exile was not to a completely deserted island. He was sent to Elba, a small Mediterranean island with a population. He even governed the island before escaping to return to France for his brief comeback during the 100 Days. Lie 24. The Titanic sank because it hit an iceberg. While the iceberg played a role, the Titanic sank because it had several design flaws. The ship's steel hull was too brittle, and the rivets used in its construction were weak. The iceberg was just one factor in a combination of fatal mistakes. Lie 25. Vikings were uncivilized barbarians. Vikings are often depicted as bloodthirsty savages, but in reality, they were highly skilled craftsmen, traders, and explorers. They established settlements, built advanced ships, and traded all around Europe. Lie 26. Albert Einstein never spoke until he was 4. This is a widely repeated myth. While Einstein was a quiet child and took time to speak, he started talking at a normal age, and his early speech delay had no bearing on his intelligence or future success. Lie 27. The Aztecs sacrificed humans to their gods in large numbers. Although the Aztecs did practice human sacrifice, the scale was exaggerated. Most of the sacrifices were symbolic, and many were prisoners of war or people who volunteered for the ritual, not just random victims. Lie 28. The Dark Ages were a time of ignorance and superstition. Contrary to the popular belief that the Dark Ages were a period of cultural stagnation, this was actually a time of innovation and growth. During this period, universities were founded, and a number of important scientific discoveries were made. Lie 29. Shakespeare wrote all of his works alone. Many scholars believe that Shakespeare's works were a collaboration with other playwrights of the time. It's highly likely that others helped him write his famous plays, but the idea that he was a lone genius is mostly a myth. Lie 30. You only use 10% of your brain. This myth is one of the most widespread in science. The truth is that almost all parts of your brain have a function, and modern brain imaging technology shows that we use virtually every part of our brain, even when we're at rest. As you can see, many of these myths have been ingrained in our culture for centuries, but the truth is far more interesting. History is filled with exaggerations and misunderstandings, and it's important to separate fact from fiction. Which of these historical lies blew your mind? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you're learning something new. Lie 31. Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." This is one of the most famous quotes in history, but Marie Antoinette never said this. The phrase was a piece of propaganda used to paint her as out of touch with the suffering of the French people. She never uttered those words. Lie 32. Christopher Columbus proved the Earth is round. The idea that Columbus proved the Earth is round is wrong. People already knew the Earth was round for centuries before Columbus. The misconception comes from the fact that Columbus' voyage was intended to find a faster route to Asia, not to prove the Earth's shape. Lie 33. The Berlin Wall came down on its own. Many people believe the Berlin Wall fell by accident, but in reality it came down due to political pressure and the actions of activists. The wall was dismantled after a series of protests and political changes in East Germany. Lie 34. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Thomas Edison is often credited with inventing the light bulb, but the truth is that several inventors contributed to the development of electric light. Edison's key achievement was perfecting the incandescent bulb and making it commercially viable. Lie 35. The U.S. Civil War was fought over slavery alone. While slavery was a major issue, the Civil War was also about states' rights, economic differences, and the balance of power between the North and South. Slavery was a key factor, but not the only reason for the war. Lie 36. Napoleon lost the Battle of Waterloo because of his bad health. Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo wasn't just due to his health. It was a result of poor strategy, a divided army, and bad weather. His health played a role, but it was only one factor in his downfall. Lie 37. People in the Middle Ages believed the Earth was flat. This myth is often told. But in fact, educated people in the Middle Ages knew the Earth was round. The flat Earth idea was popularized much later in the 19th century, but medieval scholars were aware of the Earth's spherical shape. Lie 38. The French Revolution started because of bread shortages. While bread shortages were a part of the story, the French Revolution was sparked by economic inequality, high taxes, and a lack of political freedom. Bread was a symbol of the broader social unrest. Lie 39. The Great Fire of London started with a piece of burning bread. It's a popular story, but the truth is, the Great Fire of London started in a bakery, but it wasn't due to a single piece of burning bread. The fire spread because of poor city planning and flammable materials in close proximity. Lie 40. Cleopatra was the last pharaoh of Egypt. Cleopatra was indeed the last ruling monarch of Egypt, but Egypt was already a Roman province by the time she took the throne. The idea that she ruled Egypt as an independent kingdom is a common misconception. As we've seen, history is filled with half-truths, myths, and lies that shape how we perceive the past. It's important to dig deeper and uncover the real stories behind these historical events. Which of these myths surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to like if you learned something new. Lie 41. The Emancipation Proclamation freed all slaves. The truth is that the Emancipation Proclamation only freed slaves in Confederate states that were in rebellion. It didn't free slaves in border states loyal to the Union or areas under Union control. The 13th Amendment, passed later, abolished slavery completely. Lie 42. Isaac Newton discovered gravity by watching an apple fall. While Newton did indeed come up with his theory of gravity, the idea that he saw an apple fall and was struck by the idea is a myth. Newton was already working on the concept, and the apple story is a simplified legend. Lie 43. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is about to fall. For years, people have been concerned that the Leaning Tower of Pisa is going to fall, but the truth is that extensive restoration work has stabilized it. The lean has been corrected to a safer angle, and it's not in immediate danger of collapse. Lie 44. Albert Einstein was a terrible teacher. Einstein was actually a highly respected professor. He was well known for his lectures and ability to inspire students. The myth of him being a terrible teacher likely comes from his early struggles to find a stable academic position. Lie 45. King Arthur was a real historical figure. While King Arthur is one of the most famous figures in Western mythology, there is no solid historical evidence that he was a real person. His legend has been passed down through the centuries, but his actual existence is still debated. Lie 46. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. It's one of the most enduring myths, but the Great Wall of China is not visible from space with the naked eye. It's extremely narrow, and even from low Earth orbit, it's difficult to see without the aid of magnification. Lie 47. The Mona Lisa is the most valuable painting in the world. While the Mona Lisa is certainly priceless and iconic, the title of the most valuable painting goes to Salvator Mundi, a painting attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, which sold for over $450 million in 2017. Lie 48. The first Thanksgiving was a peaceful feast between pilgrims and Native Americans. The first Thanksgiving was more of a friendly meal, but it didn't represent the peaceful relationship that followed. The reality is that after this event, relations between the Pilgrims and Native Americans became much more tense and conflicted. Lie 49. Christopher Columbus was the first European to reach the Americas. Columbus was not the first European to reach America. Leif Erikson, a Norse explorer, arrived in North America around 500 years before Columbus did. Lie 50. Pocahontas saved John Smith's life. This myth has been romanticized in history and film, but the truth is that Pocahontas did not save John Smith's life in the way it's often portrayed. The story was exaggerated, and Smith himself later admitted that it was likely a misunderstanding. And there you have it, 50 historical lies that have shaped how we understand the past. The truth behind these myths is far more fascinating than the lies we've been told. History is full of surprises. Which of these myths was the most shocking to you? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video eye-opening. Thank you for sticking with us through this incredible journey of uncovering historical myths. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to share it with your friends and subscribe for more shocking historical truths. History is full of hidden stories, and we've only just scratched the surface.